Okay, hi BookTube, Aaron here, or somewhere. I'm on the other side of the camera today because I'm going to be doing a library tour. Last year I started one and then halfway through moved most of the books around and totally changed how they were arranged. And so that was put on hold, but I'm hoping to restart it this year. And I thought to start it off, I'd show you a part of my library that I haven't really shown off before, and that's my e-library. It's, I don't think, quite as showy as my actual physical book collection, um, if that physical book collection is showy at all anyway. Um, but I thought I'd go through it anyway, and we'll see what it's like. And so here it is in a nice little case. It does the trick, and most of the books are from sort of two or three places really. So here it is, the main collection. Most of them are books I find for free on places like Project Gutenberg or another place I've recently found that I've already forgotten the name of. But also I've had books sent by a kind benefactor, and occasionally I have bought books new and downloaded them, but I try to avoid doing that. And then, so I thought I'd go through my collections and how I've arranged things on here. There's a fair bit of cross-referencing, so I won't go through the book by book. But we start off with the ancient world here. There's quite a lot in there. So we've got, for example, so I think that's Jason and the Argonauts there. That's Appian. It's quite hard with these Penguin classics when they're on a Kindle screen. It's quite hard to read them just off the cover. We've got a book about ancient Egypt there, and again, the progress thing is because I just flick through them sometimes just to see what they're like. It's kind of getting in the way, so I can't work out the author name. Let's see if we can find out. I won't do this for every book. That's Barbara Mertz, Redland, Blackland, about ancient Egypt. We've got Istanbul by Bettany Hughes. That's really good. We've got poetry by Catullus. We've got The Classical World by Robin Lane Fox. I'm thinking of starting that soon. We've got The Odyssey, a book on Attila. We've got The Histories by Herodotus. I'm hoping to read that at some point soon for the first quarter of Historathon. We've got The Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. We've got I think that's The Civil War by Caesar, I think. We've got the Conquest of Gaul there, I think, as well. Um, so yeah, just sort of lots of bits and bobs, either works from the classical world, as Herodotus again, The Secret History by Procopius, On the Shortness of Life by Seneca. I just opened that by accident. Yeah, so that's the sort of stuff that's in the ancient world. And I've only really scratched the surface with these, and there's a lot more out there. Then next up we've got biography. Again, there'll be a bit of a crossover here, I think. So yeah, we've got that Attila one there. We've got the book about Nefertiti, Cleopatra by what's her name again? I've heard this is really good. By Stacey Schiff, Cleopatra Alive. I've heard that's really good. You could probably tell I haven't really been on my Kindle a while because I'm not as nimble as with the screen as I normally am. Got classic literature then, and again there'll probably be some crossover potentially. Some of the medieval stuff is in there, like Chaucer and I can't even pronounce this guy's name normally. Gregory of Tours, History of the Franks. But we've also got a few free ones that I've recently downloaded. So we've got short fiction by Arthur Machen there. We've got The Fairy Queen there as well. A sample of Faust. At some point, I'm hoping to try and do a bit of a deep dive on Goethe. But I'm trying to work out which translations and which editions to have, whether I should have a sort of complete Goethe and work through that, or get different bits and bobs from different translations. So I'm still looking into that and trying to work out whether it's actually something I want to do. Got Ulysses, we've got some Knut Hamsun books. We've got The King of Elfland's Daughter by Lord Dunsany. I really want to read some Lord Dunsany at some point. Metropolis by Frau, I can't remember her name now, Thea von Harbou. Yeah, Metropolis is one of my favourite films, if not my favourite film. And again, some of these that we've seen before, some early English poetry, Irish sagas. Oh, and I've just opened another one. Yeah, as I said, not quite as nimble fingered with the Kindle because it's been a little while. I'll try and speed through a bit here. Then we've got Dark Middle Ages. So again, more of the same stuff we've seen, but just collected so that it's more concentrated on a certain period. So we've got A Distant Mirror by Barbara Tuchman, and then underneath here is Jean Froissart's Chronicles, which are, if I'm remembering correctly, they were one of her sort of main sources in A Distant Mirror. So I'd quite like to get back to them at some point. Following on from the Dark and Middle Ages, we've just got generic fiction, not necessarily classic fiction. Here are some of the ones I bought new, like The Rabbit Hutch, Demon Copperhead, books that I had to read for the BookTube prize. And as you can see, some of the sort of more classic books like Ulysses and Arthur Machen and King of Elfland's Daughter. We've got The Opal and Other Stories by, what's his first name? It's Maeterlinck. What's his first name? His first name is Gustav, so Gustav Maeterlinck, sort of kind of gothic, creepy stories from Prague. We've got Meg by Steve Alton, which I might read for Garb August this year. And yeah, sort of more things we've seen. I've got a e-version of Madame Bovary, just in case I'm ever away from home and have my Kindle, but I'm kind of in the mood. And we've got general slash modern history. So yeah, we've already seen Istanbul. We've got The Penguin History of the World, and this is by J.M. Roberts and O.A. Westad. So again, I don't know when I'll get to that, but it's good to have around. We've got History of Sicily by John Julius Norwich, which again, like Herodotus, I might try and read soon for Historathon. It kind of goes across multiple time periods, so I might start it in maybe March time as it sort of begins in the ancient world, and then sort of move forward as the periods in Historathon move forward. Let's see, and then after that, I've just got my notes, and then we've got poetry. This is all stuff we've seen before. So we've got Catullus, the Fairy Queen, the Canterbury Tales, Beowulf, Odyssey, Iliad, complete works of Shakespeare, early English poetry, and the Aeneid by Virgil. I don't tend to read a lot of poetry on my Kindle, just because I find the formatting a bit odd sometimes. But I checked out the Fairy Queen, and that actually looks okay. So that might grow a bit as time goes on. And then the last one we've got here is Sherlock Holmes and Lupin. And this is kind of in anticipation of the Holmes is Where the Heart Is event, which is all about Sherlock Holmes. So I've got all of the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle stories and novels here, from the adventures of Sherlock Holmes through to his last bow, and yeah, sort of everything else in between and around them. Then we've also got we've got Lupin versus Herlock Sholmes there. and then just the sort of main collection of the Lupin stories as well. And I always forget the author. Who's that by? By Maurice Leblanc. Um, so there's something that I might treat myself to a little later on. But that's really it. So I don't have tons on here. I'll see if there's a way I can. Um, let's see. So I think all in all, including all the books, samples, and documents, which are really more books. What's that? That's do trying to do maths in my head. Is that 83? Something like that. Books on there. So that yeah, less than 100 books. But if I was, there's some pretty big books on here. So if I was just to keep on going with this and you know just go the way I am, just Kindle, that'll probably see me through for a year or more. Having said, there's lots of really quite big stuff on there. But I think next up will be The Classical World by Robin Lane. Robin Lane Fox. So yeah, there we go. So that's the first part of my first ever Kindle library tour. A bit of a strange experiment. And then we'll see. I might try and carry on with the physical library tour at some point soon. But for now, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.